This morning I want to talk about being appreciative and being thankful. And I know some people will think, well, those mean the same thing, and they are similar. But here I want to refer to being appreciative as appreciating what you have and being thankful. And I gesture to Spirit because we need to thank Spirit as well. And that includes our experiences in life, our lessons, whether they're good or not so good. I don't like to use the word bad. Even my dogs don't know the word bad. So when they're misbehaving, I tell them they've been a very not so good doggies, and they wag their tails, so it becomes a positive negative. We should appreciate our experiences, good or not, and give thanks because we learn from them. And sometimes a number of people will encounter similar, the same experience, but they have different lessons because it depends on the person. The good experiences, we really like those. We wish they could keep on going. And the not so good ones, well, we learn from them also. So they make our life better, make ourselves better. Therefore, all lessons are good. And in most cases, they're temporary anyway. Sometimes we're having an experience and we don't understand why we are having this particular one. And we ask our guides or we meditate on it, and sometimes we get an answer, sometimes not. Or perhaps later down the road at a later date, and we get one of those aha moments. But there's always a reason for each and every lesson, each and every experience, and every day we have one, but sometimes they're so minute you don't even know you're having it. So whether it's good or not, we should welcome them, we should embrace them and celebrate them and give thanks to Spirit. And all of us here, we could all come up and relate an experience that you had where you learned something. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask anyone. But you could come up, everybody could come up and tell about an experience that you had and what you learned from it, and whether you got it right away or whether you had to meditate on it. So I thought I'd tell about a bit of an experience that I had a few months ago. Back in about September or October of last year, my husband Richard and I, we noticed our very old wooden garage kind of leaning to the side a bit, as if a gust of wind could easily, let it slide down and over on our neighbor's fence. But we appreciate and are thankful for the fact that we have good neighbors who wouldn't mind at all.
She's not in the freezer yet.
Didn't mind it at all. It had to be fixed. So we had somebody come and look at it and said, no problem, have it fixed by end of November. First lesson, should have asked November of what year. That wasn't really the lesson, but it was leading up to it. The fact the garage had to be fixed meant everything had to come out of it. It had to be emptied, and our little shed at the back was pretty full. Our cabana had a lot of the patio furniture. We got a little bit in there, but it meant the rest kind of had to go in the house. And we have a very small house. It's just my husband and I and my dear, God bless her, 88-year-old mother has a portion of the house for her own space, so you can imagine how full it was. And that's kind of where my experience started. With the house being so cluttered and unorganized, I was asking myself, why am I having this experience? And what lesson am I supposed to be so grateful for as I'm bumping into things and stubbing my toes? Maybe I'm supposed to be grateful that I have two big toes to stub, because the way things were going, I wasn't going to have them much longer. Or maybe I should be appreciative I have a roof over my head. That's a good answer, but I already was grateful for that. And having a house cluttered and all unorganized is like having your desk at the office, your desk all cluttered, paper strewn all over. It shows in your work. And I felt like I was in a fog. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't do readings. I couldn't have clients over. So what did I learn from this lesson? I have too much stuff. Junk, in other words. So after a few loads to the garbage and Value Village, things started to clear up. I could start to think, sort of. I'm blonde too. So things were getting organized, and I felt good. Yep, things are settling in. Christmas is coming. And we know what happened just a few days before Christmas. Ice storm. That was a huge experience, and a lot of lessons from that one. Some people weren't really affected from it, but where we live, we were without hydro heat for 44 hours and had no cable or internet or telephone for 8 days. But we're fortunate where we live. Like in Canada, when something like that happens, we know it's temporary. It always gets fixed. And even not having those conveniences for over a week, as you can see, the world did not end. And I told a couple of students from the first year class about my ordeal, and one of them responded with, "So you actually had to talk to each other." So what lessons did we learn from this huge experience? Was it a good one or a not so good one? It was the perfect experience to learn to appreciate and be thankful for what we do have, even when it's temporarily taken away from us. We learned to be creative. We appreciated our battery-run radio so we could hear the news, and heard that Toronto had it much worse than we did. We appreciated our flashlights and candles so we could read, see where we were going, especially to the bathroom. We have a gas stove, which we appreciated. We couldn't turn it on, but we could open the gas and ignite it. So we were boiling water, and I was taking pots of boiling water to different rooms in the house to try to get it warmed up, steamed up the windows. But we got our house fairly comfortable. But we didn't want to leave the gas open all night, so we turned it off. The nights got cold, the morning was freezing, which isn't good for my 88-year-old mother who's prone to bronchitis. So I appreciated my cell phone because I texted my son, who lives in Oshawa, and he wasn't really affected by it. So I texted him and asked if he could take Grandma. He asked when. I said, now. So I really appreciate my son, and I give great thanks for him because he said, yes, of course. So Grandma was fine, and it was just temporary anyway. Yeah. But we really take a lot for granted, so much so that we don't even appreciate it. We don't give thanks for them. We expect them. Then when they're taken away from us, even temporarily, we act as if the world's going to end. You know the song by Joni Mitchell, Big Yellow Taxi? Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? And it's so true. We shouldn't have to wait till our privileges are taken away before we appreciate them. And where do a lot of these privileges come from? Where do they originate? We know where our gas and oil comes from, our water, our food, from Mother Earth. And we should thank Spirit for all these things. We're so fortunate to have what we have. We don't think about the fact when we get up in the morning from our nice warm bed, we can have a nice warm shower. If it's dark, we don't hesitate to switch on a light, go in the kitchen and have a fresh hot cup of coffee or 2 cups, have pretty much whatever we want for breakfast, and if we have to go to work or do errands, we get in our warmed up car, or if we have to take transit, it's warmed up. Summertime, it's air conditioned. There are so many people in other countries that don't even know what these things are. Wouldn't even know what to do with them if you gave it to them. They don't get to go to school. They live in fear. And unfortunately, it's not temporary. Our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, they can go out and get an education without worrying about being shot in the head for doing so. And our fathers and our brothers and sons, they don't have to learn how to use the gun by the age of 6, so they can shoot someone if they're different or don't share the same beliefs. We have freedom, and we take that for granted too. So a few months ago, my husband and I went to see 12 Years a Slave, the movie when it came out. What a powerful, true-to-life movie. Very touching, emotional, and very disturbing. You don't go see this movie for entertainment. You go to learn. Usually after movies, you know how everybody's talking about the movie and there's all this chit-chat going on. Well, after this movie, there was complete silence. Nobody spoke. Nobody said a word. That was the impact the movie had on its viewers. It was an awakening. So I won't tell you what happened in the movie or the book in case you want to watch it or read it. But in the previews, we know that the slave, Solomon Northrop, who wrote this book back in 1853, and I can honestly say it's way before my time, he was a free man. He was never born into slavery. He was happily married, working man. His wife worked. They had a family. They had a cozy home. But his freedom was snatched away from him when he was kidnapped in 1841. And he was sent south and sold into slavery. This movie is so word to word from the book, which Solomon the slave wrote. He was not only witness to what happened there, he was what happened there. The horror, the abuse, the disgrace and humility that was placed on all the slaves. And you'd wonder, what's his lesson from this horrific experience? And he often asked God, but he never blamed God. What kept him going? The one thing that can never be taken away is faith. He prayed to God each and every night, and he thanked him for each and every day. He believed his faith would keep him going, and that this would just be a temporary experience. And he was helped to be freed by a Canadian, Canada. So with his slavery experience, he wrote this excellent book, 12 Years a Slave. And as you read it, you can tell he was an educated man. What was his lesson? Perhaps it is our lesson? We also recently lost an amazing man, Nelson Mandela, who also lost his freedom when he was thrown into prison for 27 years for pretty much just believing in freedom. He didn't lose his faith, can't take that away. He also used it to survive. When he finally was released, he appreciated his not so good experience as he learned much from it. He learned to love those who incarcerated him. He learned to lead a country with love, and he was loved. Mandela appreciated what he had, and he gave thanks with his love, and that's how he'll be remembered. I have a short questionnaire. You don't need a pen and paper, just think about it in your head. But this was an email I got, and the questionnaire was done by Charles Schultz, the creator of Peanuts. And there's 2 parts, so just ponder the questions in your head as I read them. There's six questions. Name the 5 wealthiest people in the world. 2, name the last 5 Heisman Trophy winners. 3, name the last 5 winners of the Miss American pageant. 4, name people 10 people who have won the Nobel or Pulitzer Prize. 5, name the last half dozen Academy Award winners for Best Actor or Actress. And 6, name the last decade's worth of the World Series winners. Okay, how'd you do? The point is, none of us remember the headlines of yesterday. These are no second-rate achievers. They're best in their fields. But the applause dies. Awards tarnish. Achievements are forgotten. Accolades and certificates they're buried with their owners. So here's the second half of the quiz. See how you do with this one. There's only 5. 1, list a few teachers who aided your journey through school. 2, name 3 friends who have helped you through a difficult time. 3, name 5 people who have taught you something worthwhile. 4, think of a few people who have made you feel appreciated and special. And 5, think of 5 people you enjoy spending time with. Is that one easier? The lesson? The people who make a difference in your life are not the ones with the most credentials, the most money, or the most awards. They simply are the ones who care the most, and we should appreciate them and give thanks as well. So not just appreciate what you have, but also who you have. And I'd like to end with a poem that I had written a few years ago, but I thought it would fit here appropriately. And as I read it, because it's a thankful prayer more to thank Spirit. So as I read it, you can close your eyes and just imagine in your head and just envision what is being said. So in a way, you too are thanking Spirit. I called it Thankful to You. I stand firm upon rich soils beneath the tall trees, where joyful tears are wiped by your gentle breeze. My arms open wide to engulf the sky of blue, and all nature's extraordinaire is gifts from you. Full of awe and wonder, but need not ask if you are there. For each step I take, I cross your path. You are everywhere. I hear you, I see you, I feel your tranquil, tender touch. Your love, commitments, and righteousness you give so much. Hope, faith, and forgiveness are all ours to honorably embrace. This day, our daily bread, heaven and earth, you offer with grace. Your magnificent charities you deliver to all man. Therefore I am because of you. Because of you, I am. I will thank you for today until today is done. I will thank you for tomorrow when tomorrow does come. I will thank you by being the best I can be. This is my lifelong gift to you from me. My life is my lesson, and we can learn from each other's experiences as well. We all had the same experience coming here, but what was your lesson? And I just want to let everyone know how much I appreciate everybody here. I appreciate you being in my life, even if it's just Sundays. And I will thank Spirit for you. Continue to be yourself, because everyone else is taken. So thank you, and God bless.